What's up, guys? Welcome back to Biopilot Arms. Forgive my voice. I went to a bar and drank, sang screamo songs all night last night. So, if you can put up with my terrible voice, we're going to be talking about a gentleman who is arrested by the ATF for carrying a gun on his own property, Gabriel Metcalf, all because people complained, and so the ATF came in and is violating his rights. So some of you may have already seen this. Guns and Gadgets did a video on this a couple days ago. But I really wanted to show you guys the story and then actually look at the specific law that they're saying that he violated. So we'll go ahead and read the story, and then we'll go over the law and why it doesn't actually apply to him unless he did one specific thing and they can prove it. Okay, so basically, this guy, after weeks of reports of a man walking the streets near Broadwater Elementary while carrying a gun, the individual was arrested on August 22nd by the feds. The ATF arrested him. Gabriel Metcalf caught the attention of Billings police early in August when police started getting calls about his armed patrols in the area near Broadwater Elementary School. On the 2nd of August, police started getting calls about the man walking outside with a large firearm outside his home. For the next 2 weeks, Billings police would continue to receive similar reports, and on several occasions, officers reportedly communicated with Metcalf that his actions were concerning his neighbors and the school across from his home. A Billings Police Department sergeant with the school resource officer talked to him on the 15th about his actions, during which he refused to agree to not walking outside with his gun during school hours. On the 17th, members of the ATF called Metcalf after he reportedly requested to speak with a federal officer. During that call, the ATF agents were able to conduct an interview with him and get more information, which he used to submit a request for an arrest warrant for Metcalf. Don't talk to the feds, the police. Don't talk to them. Don't talk to them. Because anything you say can fuck you over. It's that simple. So just don't talk to them. I don't know why he requested to talk to the feds. I mean, obviously, the police said, we have to respond to these calls and go talk to this guy. But they didn't arrest him because he wasn't doing anything wrong, right? The cops even said, hey, we can't really do anything. But then the ATF talks to him, and then he says something that they can construe as, oh, well, I guess we could get a warrant for that. The simple solution is do not talk to them. It's that simple. So, on the 22nd, he was arrested in his home. The affidavit says he denied any prescription or illegal drug use and said he was not experiencing mental health issues. He claimed his patrols regularly to protect himself and his mother from groups and individuals who wished them harm. He told federal agents he sometimes stands watch nearly all night long and often gets very little sleep. He also says he researched Montana gun laws and believed he was acting within his rights as a Montana citizen. He added he did not want to hurt kids and only patrols to prevent crime from happening to him. During the call with ATF agents, the affidavit says Metcalf described what he believed to be several instances of threatening behavior, prompting him to exercise his Second Amendment rights. And then he's going to be in a hearing on the 28th. So basically, guys, this story basically boils down to guy has had some experiences that make him feel like he needs to protect his house and home and his property, and so he routinely walks outside with his long arms. Actually, I don't know if it's just long arms. It might be a bunch of different guns. I think I've seen the picture here. He's got a shotgun, a single break action shotgun, but I'm pretty sure there's another picture of him with a AR or something like that. Point is, he uses various guns, right? Now, here's the thing. Everybody was calling the police because they're afraid of this guy, right? But he wasn't doing anything wrong. He was on his own property. Now, another news story said that he was walking around not just on his property, but he would also be on the sidewalk, which is technically public property. Now, the problem is he's within 1,000 feet of a school. That's where they're trying to get him. However, there are exceptions to that law. So, now this is what Guns and Gadgets didn't really go over. He just kind of talked about the general gist of this, but the law that they're going based off of is the Gun Free School Zones Act of 1990, right? And essentially what this law is, the law applies to public, private, and parochial, I think that's how you say it, elementary schools and high schools, and to non-private property within 1,000 feet of them. Key there is non-private property. It provides that the states and their political subdivisions may issue licenses that exempt the licensed individuals from the prohibition. Now, they had to, redo this. They had to add 18 USC 922 to 921 to make it come into compliance with the Constitution because it was challenged. So again, here you can see the challenges. But so if we scroll down here, here are the exceptions to this law, right? So you can't have a gun within 1,000 feet of a school or on the school premises or in the school zone unless, number one, 18 USC 922 does not apply to the possession of a firearm, one, on private property not part of school grounds. So if he was on his private property in his front lawn, this does not apply to him. If the individual possessing the firearm is licensed to do so by the state in which the school zone is located or a political subdivision of the state, and the law of the state or political subdivision requires that before an individual obtains such a license, the law enforcement authorities of the state or political subdivision verify that the individual is qualified under the law to receive the license. Basically, that whole paragraph, do you have a CCW or a CHL, whatever your state calls it? Do you have a concealed handgun license? If the answer to that is yes, this law does not apply to you. And keep in mind that on private property, and if you have a CHL, then you can carry a firearm loaded. So number 3, that it is not loaded and in a locked container or locked firearms rack that is on a motor vehicle. So essentially, okay, if you don't have a CHL, right, and you are not on private property, you have to have it it has to be unloaded and in a locked container or on a firearm rack in a car. So for instance, technically speaking, if you are in a state that has constitutional carry, if you are constitutionally carrying your handgun on you and it's loaded and you drive through a school zone, you just broke this law. Because you have to be licensed by your state in order to carry the firearm through the school zone or whatever, or within 1,000 feet of the school loaded. Now, if you don't have a license, you can still transport your firearm. It just has to be, again, not loaded and locked in a container. And then they go on to say some other stuff like law enforcement officers. Number was that the bottom one says that is unloaded and is possessed by an individual while traversing school premises for the purpose of gaining access to public or private lands open to hunting, if the entry on the school premises is authorized by school authorities. And then it goes on to talk about the discharge of a firearm, but he didn't do that, right? So essentially, the ATF is saying, I think what they're trying to go with is that he went onto the sidewalk And because he went onto the sidewalk, this law applies to him because it wasn't private property. Now, that all comes down to essentially what did he tell them when he had the phone call with the ATF, which he should not have done, right? So if he told them, yeah, I walked on the sidewalk, then he incriminated himself, right? Now, I'm not saying that it's right, because I believe that it's an infringement no matter what. This whole 1,000-foot rule is stupid, but according to the letter of the current law, then he would have broken it. Now, if he has a concealed carry license from Montana, then it's null and void and they have nothing, even if he did go on the sidewalk. Because if you're licensed in that state to carry a gun, then it doesn't even matter whether or not he is or is not within the 1,000 feet. Now, the only question that I have, because it doesn't act, the other versions of this, the explanation of this, it says firearms. But my question is, technically, the concealed handgun license only applies to a handgun, right? So does that mean that you can, that it nullifies this particular law for handguns, or does it nullify it for all firearms because you were licensed by the state? Even though it was like a handgun license, does it nullify it for everything? I don't know. That is something that I guess a lawyer would have to tell me. I would err on the side of caution, in my opinion, and I would only carry handguns. So if you wanted to carry a AR, carry an AR pistol, right? That would be my suggestion, just to cover all your bases. The CHL covers handguns. I'm technically carrying a handgun because it's an AR pistol, so I'm covered. Just in case it doesn't actually, that you having a CHL doesn't cover an actual long gun. Now, that may be what they're going after him for, too. They may be like, well, yeah, maybe you have a concealed carry license, but unfortunately, that only covers handguns, and so you carried a shotgun or a rifle or whatever, and so we're going to go after you for it. All of this is all just bullshit, in my opinion, because all gun laws are infringements, but going back to where we stand now, this is the law that is in place, and you have to actually know what it is, right? And so that's why I felt the need to make this video, because I wanted to make it clear to you guys what the actual exemptions were and why he may actually end up being charged. Everybody seems to be up in arms about it because, like, oh, they're getting him for no reason, blah 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 blah. And it's like, well, okay, I agree, but the letter of the law as it stands right now is X. If he did something that violated X, and that's why it's so important for every one of you guys to know the law and to always err, in my opinion, on the side of caution. Unless, of course, you want to be the martyr that, ends up suing the federal government to try to change the gun law, and you want to gamble your freedom away. Okay. Then, sure, go ahead. But I think, I think this is going to be a interesting case to watch because, again, it depends what he said to the ATF. Maybe he ends up, just they release him. They put him through the process because the process is the punishment usually. And that's it. Anyway, guys, appreciate you guys for watching. Go ahead and drop a comment down below. Let me know. Do you think that the CHL covers all guns, all firearms, based off of what it says here? Or do you think that there is an argument to be said that, hey, the CHL that's issued by the state only covers handguns, so that license doesn't apply to long arms for the purpose of this law? I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments down below. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all of you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. And please, please share my videos so that way, I can grow my channel. Share it with your friends, your family, whoever you think might like this video, or somebody who maybe didn't know about this. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all of you, and I will see you next time.